Junho stood at the massive window of the transport shuttle, watching as the Galactic Collegiate Institute grew larger in the viewport. The space station orbited a pale blue moon, and it was bigger than anything he had ever seen. Beside him, Mirai checked her datapad for the 10th time that hour. "We're really doing this," Junho said, grinning widely. "First humans ever at GCI." Mirai nodded but didn't look up from her screen. "Did you read all the forms they sent us?" "Sure," Junho lied. He had skimmed them. How important could they be? The shuttle docked with a soft hiss. The doors opened, and they stepped into a corridor filled with aliens. Junho tried not to stare. There were beings with fur, beings with scales, beings that floated, and beings that looked like walking crystals. One creature had 6 legs and looked like a giant mantis wearing professional clothes. A small blue alien approached them. It had smooth skin like a dolphin and walked on 2 legs. Its voice came through a translator device on its chest. "Students Junho Kim and Mirai Park?" "That's us," Junho said. "I am Administrator Quelix. Welcome to GCI. Please follow me to complete your registration." They walked through hallways filled with students of every shape and size. Some aliens stopped to stare at the humans. A few moved away quickly. Junho waved at a group of furry creatures, but they hurried off in the opposite direction. "Are they scared of us?" Mirai whispered. "Why would they be scared?" Junho whispered back. Administrator Quelix led them to an office. The desk was covered with papers. Real papers, not digital ones. That seemed odd for such an advanced place. "Before you can attend classes, you must sign these documents," Quelix said. His 3-fingered hand gestured to the stack. Junho picked up the first paper. "Liability waiver for attendance in historical studies?" "Yes." "And this one," Quelix handed him another, "is the psychological safety agreement." "Why do we need 17 different forms?" Mirai asked, counting the stack. Quelix's skin changed color slightly, turning darker blue. "It is necessary for everyone's safety." They spent an hour signing papers. Each form had warnings and disclaimers. Words like potential distress, species-specific trauma responses, and mandatory supervision appeared many times. Finally, they finished. Quelix gave them their class schedules. "Your first class is Comparative Civilizational History 301 with Professor Veltis. Please arrive 15 minutes early." "Why early?" Junho asked. "To meet your counselor." "Our what?" "Your assigned war counselor. Counselor Yib will accompany you to all history classes." Mirai and Junho looked at each other. "A war counselor? For a history class?" Quelix's color darkened even more. "It is required. For all humans. In certain classes. The regulations are very clear." They left the office confused. Their dormitory was nice, with rooms designed for humanoid species. After unpacking, they headed to their first class. The classroom was shaped like an amphitheater. Seats surrounded a central speaking area in circular rows. Students were already arriving. Junho recognized some species from the hallway. The furry ones, which his datapad identified as grasswalkers, sat together on one side. The crystal beings, called crystallids, occupied another section. The 6-legged mantis aliens, the Chitauri, took seats near the front. A small amphibious creature waited by the door. It wore a vest covered in pockets and had large, kind eyes. "Students Junho and Mirai? I am Counselor Yib. I will be sitting with you today." "Nice to meet you," Junho said. "But why do we need a counselor?" Yib's throat sac inflated slightly. "It is protocol. Please let us find seats." Yib led them to seats in the middle section and sat directly between them. The counselor pulled out a small device that began emitting a faint, pleasant smell. "What's that?" Mirai asked. "Calming pheromones." "Standard equipment." More students filed in. Junho noticed them looking at the humans and then looking away quickly. Some whispered to each other. A grasswalker student changed seats to sit farther away. Professor Veltis entered the room. The Chitauri professor was impressive, standing on 4 legs with 2 arms folded in front. The compound eyes swept across the classroom and paused on Junho and Mirai. The mandibles clicked together rapidly. "Welcome, students, to Comparative Civilizational History," Professor Velthis said, the translator making the voice sound smooth and professional. "This semester, we will study how different species developed through time. We will examine peaceful solutions to problems, cooperative developments, and harmonious growth." The professor's eyes kept glancing at the humans. "Today, we begin with the Bronze Age collapse. This event affected many species in similar ways. The Bronze Age was a time of early tool use and basic civilization building. For most species, this period lasted between 5,000 and 10,000 of your Earth years. Junho's hand went up. Professor Veltis's antennae twitched. Yes, question already? Oh, I just wanted to say that humans had a Bronze Age too. It's cool that we have that in common. The classroom went very quiet. I see, Professor Veltis said slowly. And how did humanity's Bronze Age proceed? Mirai leaned forward, interested now. Well, we developed bronze tools and weapons pretty quickly. We built cities and trade networks. Then everything collapsed when the trade routes broke down. Civilizations fell. People forgot how to write. It was a dark age for a while. She smiled, thinking this was a nice connection to the lesson. The Grasswalker students looked at each other with wide eyes. One of the crystallids made a sound like wind chimes in distress. Professor Veltis's mandibles stopped moving entirely. Counselor Yib pressed a button on the device. The calming smell got stronger. You developed weapons? A Grasswalker student asked quietly. In the Bronze Age? Sure, Junho said. Swords, spears, arrows. Pretty much everyone did. We did not, the Grasswalker said. We used bronze for farming tools. For 10,000 years, oh, Junho said. He sensed he had said something wrong but wasn't sure what. Professor Veltis's color had changed slightly, becoming paler. The collapse you mentioned. How many died? Mirai shrugged. Hard to say exactly. Millions, probably. Whole civilizations disappeared. A crystallid student stood up and left the room without a word. Perhaps, Professor Veltis said, voice shaking slightly. We should start with a different topic, yes. Let us discuss the agricultural revolution instead. That is much safer, much more peaceful. But Professor, a Chitari student said, that is next week's lesson. We will move it to today. Agriculture, farming, growing food, nothing violent about farming. Counselor Yib was making notes on a data pad with one hand while adjusting the pheromone device with the other. Junho and Mirai sat back in their seats. They looked at each other, confused. Did we say something wrong? Junho whispered. I have no idea. Mirai whispered back. Professor Veltis began a new lecture about farming, speaking quickly and keeping the compound eyes fixed carefully on the far wall, away from the humans. In the hallway after class, Junho heard two Grasswalkers talking. Weapons in the Bronze Age, one said. Did you hear that? Millions dead, the other replied. They said it so casually, and that's their ancient history. Imagine what they're like now. Junho wanted to tell them it wasn't that bad, that humans were nice, but they hurried away before he could speak. Counselor Yib waddled up to them. First class completed. Well done. Why is everyone acting so weird? Mirai asked. Yib's throat sac inflated and deflated slowly. It is not you. It is what you represent. Please try not to mention wars, weapons, or deaths in the next class. We didn't mention wars, Junho protested. You mentioned weapons and millions of deaths. But that was just history. Yes, Yib said quietly. That is the problem. The counselor walked away, leaving the two humans standing in the hallway more confused than ever. 3 days had passed since the Bronze Age incident, as Junho had started calling it. He still didn't understand what went wrong. He and Mirai walked to their second history class with Counselor Yib following close behind. Remember, Yib said, Professor Veltis chose a very safe topic today. Agriculture is peaceful. Just listen and try not to contribute too much. But we came here to learn and participate, Mirai said. Yib's throat sac pulsed. Yes, perhaps participate less than normal. They entered the classroom. This time even fewer students sat near them. The Grasswalkers had moved to the opposite side entirely. A new student sat in the front row, a tall being that looked like it was made of singing crystal. The translator identified it as a Melodian. Another human waved at them from the back. Hey, you're the other humans. Junho brightened. Yeah, I'm Junho, this is Mirai. Doyun, the young man said, shaking their hands. I'm in engineering, but I'm taking this history class as an elective. Mind if I sit with you? Please do, Mirai said. Counselor Yib now had to sit at the end of the row with 3 humans together. The counselor pulled out 2 pheromone devices this time. Professor Veltis entered and saw the 3 humans sitting together. The antennae drooped slightly. 3 today, wonderful. The professor began the lecture. Today we discuss agricultural development. This is how species learned to grow food instead of hunting and gathering. It is a beautiful story of patience, harmony with nature, and gentle progress. The professor turned to a display showing images of fields and farms from different planets. Let us begin with the Melodians. Their agricultural revolution took 2,000 years. They sang to their crops, encouraging growth through harmonic resonance. They asked the plants to become bigger, sweeter, more nutritious. The plants, over many generations, agreed. The crystal Melodian in the front row hummed with pride. The grasswalkers took 5,000 years, Professor Veltis continued. They lived alongside wild tubers, slowly selecting the best ones, never forcing, always asking permission from the plants. Their relationship with their crops is sacred, built on mutual respect. A grasswalker student raised a furry paw. We still sing prayers to our fields before harvest. Beautiful, Professor Veltis said. This is how peaceful species develop agriculture, slowly, respectfully, in harmony with nature. Does anyone have questions? Hunyo raised his hand before he could stop himself. Counselor Yib made a small squeaking sound. Yes, Student Junho. That's really cool. Humans did agriculture too, but it was way faster. We figured it out in about 10,000 years, and we domesticated tons of different plants and animals. The classroom was quiet. 10,000 years for multiple species? Professor Veltis asked carefully. Yeah, wheat, rice, corn, potatoes, tomatoes, beans. We grew them all over the world. Different regions, different crops, I see. And how did you encourage these plants to change? Doyen jumped in enthusiastically. We selected the best ones and only planted those. We forced them to evolve the way we wanted. Crossbreeding, artificial selection, that kind of thing? Mireille nodded. We did the same with animals. We took wolves and turned them into dogs. Wild cattle became cows. We changed chickens, pigs, sheep, horses. We made them useful. Junho added helpfully. Professor Veltis had frozen in place. The Melodian in the front row made a sound like breaking glass. You forced evolution? Well, yeah, Doyen said. That's how you do agriculture efficiently. But the plants, a grasswalker said quietly. Did they want to change? Junho blinked. They're plants. They don't want things. They just grow. The grasswalker looked horrified. And the wolves? The Melodian said, its voice shaking through the translator. You took wild creatures and changed them? Sure, Mireille said. Over thousands of years we bred them to be friendly and useful. Now we have hundreds of different dog breeds. Some are for hunting, some for guarding, some for herding, some just for looking cute. You created hunting animals? Professor Veltis asked. And guarding animals? A crystal had added. Well, yeah, but also cute ones, Hunyo said, pulling out his data pad. Look, this is a corgi. Short legs, long body. We made them that way because it's adorable. He showed the picture around. The alien student stared at it like it was a weapon. You altered a creature's body for aesthetics? The Melodian whispered. Lots of creatures, Doyen said. Dogs, cats, rabbits, birds. If we thought it would look nice or be useful, we bred for it. Counselor Yib had turned both pheromone devices to maximum. A thick, sweet smell filled the area. Let me understand, Professor Veltis said slowly. You took wild plants and wild animals. You decided how you wanted them to be. Then you forced them to change through selective breeding until they matched your desires. You did this to dozens of species, and you did it for both utility and appearance. That's domestication, Mireille said. Everyone does that, right? No, Professor Veltis said. No, everyone does not do that. A grasswalker stood up. We would never force a plant to change. That's violence against nature. But you said you selected better tubers, Junho pointed out. Over 5,000 years. And we asked them, we prayed. We waited for them to agree. Wolves are apex predators, a Chitauri student said. You took apex predators and made them into tools? And pets, Doyen said. Mostly pets now. People love dogs. You keep predators in your homes? The Chitauri's mandibles clacked rapidly. For companionship? Sure, dogs are great. Loyal, friendly, protective? Protective, the Melodian repeated. You mean they guard you? They attack threats. Well, some breeds do, Mireille admitted. Guard dogs can be pretty fierce. Professor Veltis sat down heavily on a chair meant for Chitauri anatomy. You weaponized nature. You took the natural world and bent it to your will. You created attack animals and called them pets. They're not attack animals, Junho protested. They're friends. Here, look at more pictures. He showed images of dogs playing with children sleeping on beds wearing little sweaters. You also dress them? A grasswalker asked faintly. Sometimes, when it's cold, or for holidays, or just because it's cute. The melodeon made the breaking glass sound again and left the classroom. 2 grasswalkers followed. Perhaps we should take a break, Professor Velthis announced. A long break. Class dismissed. The students filed out quickly. Only the humans and Counselor Yib remained. What did we do wrong this time? Mireille asked. Counselor Yib was writing rapidly on a datapad. You described forced evolution, biological warfare against nature, and the domestication of apex predators as if discussing a pleasant hobby. But that's just farming and having pets, Doyen said. For you, Yib said. For you it is normal. For us it is horror. The 3 humans looked at each other. Should we not talk in class anymore? Kunyo asked. That might be wise, Yib said. Outside the classroom, they saw a group of students talking in hushed voices. Kunyo caught fragments of the conversation. Did you hear what they said about wolves? Forced evolution. They forced it, and they did it for aesthetics. They altered living beings to look cute. What kind of species does that? A different student answered. The kind that survives. The kind we should fear. Mireille touched Junho's arm. Come on, let's go. As they walked away, Doyen said, I don't get it. Humans aren't scary. Maybe to us, Mireille said quietly, but I'm starting to think we're very different from them. Counselor Yib followed behind, checking both pheromone devices. One was empty. The counselor had used a full cartridge in one class period. That had never happened before. Later that evening, Junho couldn't sleep. He looked up information about the other species. The grasswalkers had never fought a war, not one. In 50,000 years of recorded history, they had never killed each other in organized conflict. The Melodians had no word for weapon in their language. Not because they didn't talk about it, but because they had never invented weapons at all. The crystallids were completely pacifist. They would rather die than harm another being. Junho closed his datapad and stared at the ceiling. These weren't just peaceful species. They were species that had never known violence, the way humans did, and humans had just described 10,000 years of aggressively reshaping nature to their will. No wonder everyone was scared. He sent a message to Mireille. I think I understand now, she replied immediately. Me too, we're the weird ones. What do we do? I don't know, but I think we should be more careful about what we say. Agreed. But Junho knew it wouldn't be easy, because everything that seemed normal to humans seemed terrifying to everyone else, and they still had an entire semester of history class to get through. 2 weeks had passed since the agriculture incident. Junho, Mireille, and Doyen had been very quiet in class. They listened, took notes, and didn't raise their hands. Professor Velthis seemed relieved. Today, 2 new human students joined the class. Hyajin was a biology major with bright eyes and lots of energy. Sungmin was a history student who seemed calm and thoughtful. They sat with the other humans, and Counselor Yib brought a third pheromone device. 5 humans, Professor Velthis said quietly, in one classroom. We'll be good, Junho promised. The professor didn't look convinced. Today's topic is difficult, Professor Velthis began. We will discuss how civilizations respond to catastrophic events. These are painful histories. Please be respectful. The classroom settled into serious attention. I will start with my own people, the Chitarii, Professor Velthis said. The antennae lowered sadly. 8,000 years ago, a plague struck our homeworld. It killed 95% of our population. Billions died. Only a few million survived. The classroom was silent. This was clearly sacred history. We nearly went extinct. The trauma shaped everything we became. We are now very careful. We avoid risks. We build redundant systems. We never want to face extinction again. It took us 40,000 years to recover our population. We still remember the plague in our ceremonies. Every Chitauri knows the names of the lost hives. A Chitauri student wiped at her compound eyes with a delicate arm. Professor Velthis gestured to the crystallids. Please share your catastrophe. A crystallid student stood. Its body chimed softly as it moved. Our homeworld was destroyed by a supernova. We had some warning. We evacuated who we could. But billions more died when the star exploded. We lost our planet, our history, our sacred sites. Now we are nomadic. We have ships but no home. This happened 12,000 years ago. We are still mourning. Several crystallids hummed a sad note together. The grasswalkers, Professor Veltis continued, faced an ice age that nearly destroyed them. Their population fell to only 10,000 individuals. They consider it their eternal trauma. A grasswalker stood, ears drooping. We were once billions. The cold killed our crops. We starved, we froze. For 5,000 years we struggled to survive. We barely made it. Every grasswalker child learns the songs of the Ice Age. We teach them to remember, to never forget how close we came to ending. The classroom felt heavy with grief. These catastrophes define us, Professor Veltis said. They shape our cultures. They teach us caution. They remind us that extinction is always possible. The professor looked at the humans. Do humans have such an event in your history? Sungmin raised his hand slowly. Counselor Yib tensed. Yes, student Sungmin. Humans had a population bottleneck too, Sungmin said carefully. About 70,000 years ago. Our population dropped to maybe 10,000 individuals. Some scientists think it might have been even fewer. Professor Veltis's antennae lifted. So you understand. You know species-wide trauma. Well, Hyejin interrupted, that was really long ago. We bounced back pretty quickly. The professor blinked all the compound eyes. Quickly? Yeah, within a few thousand years we were spread across the world again, Junho added. Mirai continued. And then we had other disasters. The Black Death killed about a third of Europe. That was like 50 million people. And the Spanish flu killed 50 million more, Doyen said. Hyejin nodded enthusiastically. Don't forget the world wars. The first one killed about 20 million. The second one killed around 85 million. There were famines too, Sungmin added. Some killed tens of millions. And we dropped nuclear bombs on ourselves, Junho said. That was bad. Twice, Mirai clarified. We dropped them twice, but we're fine now. Hyejin said brightly. Earth's population is about 15 billion. We're doing great. The classroom was completely silent. A crystallid's body made a cracking sound. Another crystallid caught it before it fell. Professor Veltis stood frozen. You had multiple extinction-level events? They weren't all extinction-level, Sungmin corrected. Some were just really bad. How many? A grasswalker whispered. The humans looked at each other. Define really bad, Junho said. Events that killed millions, Professor Veltis said faintly. Oh, then lots, Hyejin said. Plagues, wars, famines, natural disasters, probably dozens of events that killed millions. And you recovered? From all of them, a Chitari student asked. Sure, Doyen shrugged. Humans are pretty tough. Our plague killed 95% of us, Professor Veltis said. It took 40,000 years to recover. We still haven't recovered psychologically. You're saying you had multiple events like this? Sort of, Mirai said. I mean, the Black Death killed a third of Europe, but not everyone. Other continents were fine, and Europe recovered in a few centuries. A few centuries, the crystallid repeated. We have been mourning for 12,000 years. Why would you recover so quickly? A grasswalker asked. Don't you honor your dead? Of course we do, Sungmin said. We have memorials and museums. We teach about these events, but we also keep living. We rebuild, we move forward. But the trauma, Professor Veltis said, the species-wide trauma, it must define you. The humans looked confused. I mean, we learn from it, Junho said. But it doesn't define us. We're not constantly afraid of another plague or another war. Why not? A Chitari student asked. You should be. You nearly ended, multiple times. But we didn't end, Hyejin said. That's the point. We survived. How? The word came from multiple students at once. Mirai thought about it. We're stubborn, I guess. When something tries to kill us, we just refuse to die. We adapt, Doyen added. We find solutions. We survive. Sometimes we thrive, Sungmin said. After the Black Death, Europe had a labor shortage. Workers could demand better pay. Some historians say it helped end feudalism. Professor Veltis sat down, not on a chair, on the floor. The professor simply stopped standing. You thrived after a disaster that killed millions? Eventually, yeah, Sungmin said. Counselor Yib activated all 3 pheromone devices. The smell became overwhelming. A grasswalker student stood up. I need to leave. Several others followed. The crystallids were humming in distress. More students left. Within minutes, only the humans, Counselor Yib and Professor Veltis remained. Did we say something wrong again? Yejin asked. Professor Veltis looked up from the floor. You described multiple extinction-level events. You said you recovered in centuries instead of millennia. You said you thrived after catastrophe. You said you refused to die. That's all true, though, Junho said. I know, Professor Veltis whispered. That's what terrifies them. Counselor Yib was making notes rapidly. The counselor's hands were shaking. I don't understand, Mirai said. Why is surviving scary? Because you don't just survive, Professor Veltis said. You weaponize survival. You turn catastrophe into advantage. You face extinction and say no. What kind of species does that? A tough one? Dorian suggested. A terrifying one, Professor Veltis corrected. The professor stood up slowly. Class dismissed permanently. I need to rethink this entire course. The humans filed out. In the hallway, they found a crowd of students talking urgently. Did you hear? Multiple extinctions. And they recovered quickly. They dropped nuclear bombs on themselves and survived. They thrived after disasters. What are they? Yunho wanted to explain that humans weren't monsters. They were just people who didn't give up. But looking at the fearful faces around him, he realized that not giving up was exactly what scared them. Back in the dorm, the 5 humans sat together. I think we broke the class, Hijin said. We just told the truth, Sungmin replied. Maybe the truth is the problem, Mirai said quietly. Junho's datapad buzzed. A message from Administrator Quelix. Please report to my office immediately. All 5 of them had received the same message. They walked to the administration building in silence. Other students moved out of their way in the hallways. Administrator Quelix's office was large. The small blue alien sat behind a desk looking exhausted. Sit, Quelix said. They sat. I have received 14 formal complaints today, from students, faculty, and even other administrators, about you. We didn't mean to upset anyone, Junho said. I know, Quelix said. That's what makes it worse. You were being honest. You were sharing your history. And your history is traumatizing my entire institution. The administrator pulled up a document on the screen. I have read your application files more carefully. The numbers, the death tolls, the wars, the disasters. We thought there were errors. Translation mistakes. No species could have that much death and still exist. But we do exist, Hijin said. Yes, Quelix said quietly. That's the problem. You exist despite everything trying to kill you. You thrive despite catastrophe. Do you understand how unnatural that is? It's just being human, Sungmin said. Exactly, Quelix replied. And being human is terrifying to everyone else. The administrator stood. There will be a tribunal. The High Scholar is coming. He will decide if humans can remain at this institution. You might kick us out? Mirai asked. He might declare humans too psychologically dangerous for standard education, Quelix said. I don't know. I have never seen anything like this. They left the office quietly. Outside, Doyen said, We're going to be expelled for being survivors. We're going to be expelled for being human, Junho corrected. The tribunal was held in the largest auditorium on the station. Yunho sat with the other 4 humans in the front row. Behind them, the room filled with students, faculty, and administrators. Everyone wanted to see what would happen to the humans. Counselor Yib sat beside them with a bag full of pheromone device cartridges. At the center of the room sat High Scholar Vress, a reptilian being from the Elder Council. His scales were deep purple and his eyes were ancient and wise. He wore robes covered in symbols of academic achievement. Next to him sat Dr. Sulgi Nam, a human professor who had been called in as an emergency consultant. She was older, maybe 50, with kind eyes and gray hair tied back neatly. She taught xenopsychology at another institution. This tribunal will decide if human students can continue their education at the Galactic Collegiate Institute, High Scholar Vress announced. His voice was deep and commanding. We will examine the psychological impact of human presence on other species. Dr. Nam, you may begin. Dr. Nam stood. Thank you, High Scholar. I have been studying human integration with alien species for 20 years. The situation here is unusual but not unique. Humans often cause distress to peaceful species simply by existing. How? A crystallid professor asked. Because our existence challenges their understanding of survival, Dr. Nam explained. Most spacefaring species had one major catastrophe in their history, one near-extinction event. It defined them. It taught them caution. She pulled up a display. The Chitauri Plague, the Crystallid Supernova, the Grasswalker Ice Age, the Melodian Asteroid Strike. Each species almost died once. They spent thousands of years recovering. These events shaped their entire psychology. They built their civilizations around never letting it happen again. The room was silent. Humans are different, Dr. Nam continued. We have faced approximately 23 extinction-level events in our recorded history. Gasps filled the auditorium. Even though the students had heard pieces of this, seeing it listed was different. Dr. Nam showed a timeline. Supervolcano eruptions. Ice ages plural. Asteroid impacts. Multiple pandemics, megadroughts, floods, and yes, we nearly destroyed ourselves with nuclear weapons. Several times. We came very close. How are you not extinct? High Scholar Vress asked. That's what everyone asks, Dr. Nam said with a small smile. The answer is complicated. We're adaptable. We're stubborn. We have a survival drive that doesn't turn off. When nature tried to kill us, we said no. When we tried to kill ourselves, we stopped just in time. Barely. But we stopped. She looked at the 5 human students. These young people don't see themselves as terrifying. They see themselves as normal. Because in human history, surviving impossible odds is normal. But it's not normal, Professor Veltis said from the audience. It's abnormal. It's aggressive. It's violent. Yes, Dr. Nam agreed. From your perspective, it is. From ours, it's Tuesday. Several aliens made distressed sounds. High Scholar Vress raised a hand for silence. Dr. Nam, are you saying humans are inherently dangerous? No, she said firmly. I'm saying humans come from a dangerous world and learn to be dangerous back. But that doesn't mean we can't be peaceful. These students haven't hurt anyone. They've just talked about their history. Their history is violent, a Grasswalker professor said. Yes, Dr. Nam agreed. Very violent. But it's also their history. You can't ask them to pretend it didn't happen. High Scholar Vress turned to the human students. You may speak. Explain yourselves, Junho stood up slowly. His hands were shaking. We didn't come here to scare anyone. We came here to learn. We wanted to meet other species. We wanted to make friends. But you traumatize others with your words, High Scholar Vress said. We're just answering questions honestly, Mireille said, standing beside Junho. When Professor Veltis asked about the Bronze Age, we talked about our Bronze Age. When the professor asked about disasters, we shared our disasters. You shared dozens of disasters, a Chitauri professor said, as if they were nothing. They're not nothing, Sungmin said, standing now too. They matter. We learn about them. We remember the people who died. But we also learn that we can survive, that we can rebuild, that the end isn't really the end. Hyejin stood. Every species here had one disaster that defined them. You're all still afraid of that one disaster. But humans can't live that way. If we were afraid of every disaster we've faced, we'd be paralyzed. We'd never do anything, Doyen was the last to stand. We're not trying to be scary. We're just trying to be honest about who we are. High Scholar Vress looked at them for a long moment. That is the problem. Your honesty is traumatic, Dr. Nam spoke again. High Scholar, may I explain something about human psychology? Please. Most species learned caution from near extinction. They learned to avoid risks, to play it safe, to never let the disaster happen again. This is wise and healthy. She paused. Humans learned the opposite. What do you mean? High Scholar Vress asked. We learned that extinction can be survived, that disasters can be overcome, that saying no to death actually works. We didn't learn caution. We learned escalation. The word hung in the air. Every time something tried to kill us, we got tougher, Dr. Nam continued. Every time we faced extinction, we adapted. We didn't learn to hide from danger. We learned to punch back. That's not evil. It's just different. It's terrifying, a Melodian professor said quietly. I know, Dr. Nam said gently, and I'm sorry. But you asked humans to join the galactic community. This is what humans are. High Scholar Vress was quiet for a long time. The whole room waited. Finally, he spoke. I have made my decision. The human students may stay at this institution. Relief flooded through Junho. However, High Scholar Vress continued, there will be new regulations. Humans will not be permitted to attend history courses without supervised counselors. They will not take military strategy courses. They will not study ethics of warfare. They will not participate in survival psychology classes. The humans looked at each other. Any discussion of conflict, disaster, or competition must be supervised by licensed trauma counselors. High Scholar Vress continued. This is for the protection of other students. That seems fair, Junho said quietly. Furthermore, the High Scholar said, other galactic institutions will be informed. We will recommend they implement similar protocols. This is not punishment. This is safety. Dr. Nam nodded. That's reasonable. Do the human students accept these terms? High Scholar Vress asked. The 5 of them looked at each other. Hunyo spoke for all of them. Yes, we accept. Then this tribunal is concluded. The room erupted in conversation as everyone filed out. Some aliens still looked fearful. Others looked curious. A few even looked relieved that the humans could stay. Dr. Nam approached them. You did well. We got banned from half our classes, Mirai said. But you get to stay, Dr. Nam replied. That's something. And honestly, those classes would have been difficult anyway. Human military history would have emptied every classroom. Is it really that bad? Hijin asked. Dr. Nam looked at her sadly. Worse, but that's a conversation for another time. As they walked back to their dorm, Junho noticed students watching them. Some moved away, but one crystalid approached carefully. I'm Bryn, Keeper of Songs, it said, voice chiming softly. I wanted to say thank you. For what? Mirai asked. For staying. For trying. I know this is hard for you. It's hard for us too. But maybe we can learn from each other. It was the first kind words they had heard from a non-human student. Thank you, Mirai said. That means a lot. Bryn, Keeper of Songs, hummed a gentle note and walked away. That evening, Counselor Yib visited their dorm. I wanted to check on you. We're okay, Junho said. Confused, but okay. You will be the first humans with mandatory counselor supervision in galactic history, Yib said. This will change things. Change them how? Toyin asked. Other institutions will create similar rules. There will be protocols, regulations, warning signs, all because of you 5. We didn't mean to cause all this, Sungmin said. I know, Yib said kindly. But you did. And now everyone in the galaxy will know that humans are different, that humans are survivors, that humans don't quit. The counselor pulled out a data pad. I've been assigned to you permanently. All 5 of you. Every history class. Every difficult discussion. I will be there. Is that okay with you? Hijin asked. Yib's throat sac pulsed in what might have been a laugh. I requested it. You're fascinating. Terrifying, yes. But fascinating. I want to understand you better. We're not that complicated, Junho said. Yes, you are, Yib replied. You just don't see it. And that's the most human thing about you. After the counselor left, the 5 humans sat together in silence. We're going to be famous, Mirai said. Or infamous, Doyen corrected. Either way, Sungmin said, we made history today. By being ourselves, Hijin added. Junho looked at his friends. We survived, they laughed. Because of course they did. That's what humans do. 6 months had passed since the tribunal. The new regulations were now official policy across 36 galactic institutions. Humans attending history, military, or political science classes required war counselor supervision. The rules were spreading to more schools every week. Junho had gotten used to Counselor Yib following them everywhere. The amphibious counselor had become more than a supervisor. Yib was their friend now. Today was special. The Galactic Collegiate Institute had invited the 5 humans to give a presentation about humanity. The auditorium was packed. Students from every species attended. Some professors came. Even a few reporters from galactic news services were there. Are you nervous? Mirai asked Junho backstage. Terrified, he admitted. Good, Dr. Nam said, walking up to them. She had stayed at the station as a consultant. If you weren't nervous, you wouldn't be taking this seriously. Remember, be honest. Be yourselves, but also be kind. These people are scared of you. We know, Yejin said quietly. Show them you're more than just survivors, Dr. Nam said. Show them your people. The lights dimmed. High Scholar Vress walked onto the stage to introduce them. Today we will learn directly from our human students, Vress announced. This presentation is titled Human Competitive Development, a Case Study in Aggressive Survival. Please welcome Junho, Mirai, Doyun, Hyejin, and Sungmin. The 5 humans walked onto the stage. The audience was silent. Counselor Yib sat in the front row with 4 other counselors, all equipped with pheromone devices. Junho spoke first. His voice shook slightly.
Thank you for coming.
We know the last few months have been difficult. We scared a lot of you. We didn't mean to, but we did. Today, we want to help you understand us better. Mirai took over. We've prepared some images that show human behavior. We think they'll help explain why we are the way we are. The first image appeared on the screen. A human standing on top of a mountain, arms raised in victory. This is Mount Everest, Sungmin explained. It's the tallest mountain on Earth. The air is so thin that humans can barely breathe. The temperature can kill you in minutes. Over 300 people have died trying to climb it. The audience shifted uncomfortably. People climb it anyway, Sungmin continued. Thousands have reached the top. When asked why, one climber said, because it's there. Humans see impossible challenges and try anyway. The next image showed a deep ocean submersible. This is the Mariana Trench, Doyen explained. The deepest part of Earth's oceans. The pressure is so intense it can crush metal. We sent humans down there to see what was at the bottom. Why? A grasswalker called out. To see what's down there, Doyen said simply. Curiosity. We wanted to know. The next image made several aliens gasp. It showed a human eating a bright red pepper. These are chili peppers, Hyejin said. They contain capsaicin, a chemical that causes pain. It literally hurts to eat them. Our mouths burn, we sweat. Sometimes we cry. And you eat them? A Melodian asked, voice high with confusion. For fun, Hyejin said. We like the pain. We think it's entertaining. Counselor Yib activated a pheromone device. The next series of images showed extreme sports, skydiving, rock climbing, surfing massive waves, racing cars at dangerous speeds. These are human recreational activities, Mirai explained. We do dangerous things for entertainment. Some of these activities have high fatality rates. We do them anyway because they're exciting. You risk death for excitement? A Chitari professor asked. Some of us, yes, Mirai admitted. Not all humans do this, but enough do that it's considered normal. The next image showed a family with a large dog. You've seen pictures of dogs before, Junho said. But this specific dog is a breed called a German Shepherd. They were bred from wolves to be guard dogs and police dogs. They can be aggressive. They can be dangerous. He clicked to the next image. The same dog was sleeping in a bed with a small human child. We also keep them in our homes with our children, Junho said. Because we trained them. We trust them. We made apex predators into family members. A grasswalker stood up and left. 2 others followed. I know that scares you, Junho said. But to us it's normal. Dogs are loyal. They protect us. They love us. We love them back. The next image showed a house cat. This is a cat, Hyejin said. A small predator. We keep them in our homes too. They hunt birds and mice. They have sharp claws and teeth. But we think they're cute, so we domesticate them and let them sleep on our furniture. Doyen brought up the next image. A massive construction project. Terraforming equipment on a red planet. This is Mars, Doyen explained. A dead planet in our solar system. No atmosphere, no water. Nothing lives there. We're planning to change that. How? High Scholar Vress asked. We're going to terraform it, Doyen said. We're going to force an entire planet to sustain life. We'll give it an atmosphere. We'll create water. We'll plant organisms. We'll make a dead world into a living one. Why? The question came from multiple voices. Because it's a dead planet, Sungmin said, and we want to make it not dead. Because we can. Because we want another world to live on. The auditorium buzzed with shocked conversation. We're going to force a planet to change, a crystallid said. Just like you forced plants and animals to change. Yes, Sungmin admitted. That's what humans do. We see things we want to change and we change them. Junho stepped forward. I know this sounds aggressive. It is aggressive. But it's also how we survived. Earth tried to kill us many times. We didn't accept death. We fought back. We adapted. We forced nature to work with us instead of against us. That's violence, a Melodian professor said. Maybe, Mirai agreed. But it's also survival. And it's who we are. We can't pretend to be something else. Hyejin pulled up the final image. It showed all 5 of them standing together smiling. We're human, Hyejin said. We're aggressive survivors. We don't give up. We don't quit. We see impossible odds and we try anyway. But we're also kind. We make friends. We care about others. We're trying to fit in here even though it's hard. We know we scare you, Doyun said. We understand now why our history is traumatic to you. Your species learned caution from catastrophe. We learned defiance, but we're not monsters, Sungmin said. We're just different. And we're asking you to give us a chance, Junho finished. We want to be part of the galactic community. We want to learn from you. We hope you can learn from us too, even if it's uncomfortable. The 5 humans stood together on the stage waiting. The silence stretched. Then, slowly, Bryn Keeper of Song stood up. The crystallid hummed a clear, bright note. I accept you. You are strange and frightening. But you are also honest and brave. I will be your friend. Another student stood. A young Chitari. You are terrifying. But you have not hurt anyone. I will try to understand. More students stood. Not all of them. But enough. High Scholar Vress rose last. You have shown us who you are. You have not hidden your nature. That takes courage. The regulations will remain. You are too psychologically intense for unrestricted interaction. But you are welcome here. The presentation ended. As the auditorium emptied, several students approached the humans carefully. Some wanted to ask questions. A few wanted to apologize for being afraid. One brave grasswalker asked if he could see more pictures of dogs. Later in their dorm, the 5 humans collapsed on the furniture. We did it, Mirai said. Some of them still left, Hijin noted. But some stayed, Junho replied. That's progress. Counselor Yib visited them that evening. Your presentation will be shown at other institutions. The Galactic Academic Council wants all students to see it. Really? Doyen asked. Yes, you are changing how aliens see humans, slowly. But it's happening. Will the regulations ever go away? Sungmin asked. Yib's throat sac pulsed thoughtfully. Probably not. Humans will always need counselor supervision for certain topics. Your psychology is too different. But that's okay. Different doesn't mean wrong. Just terrifying, Junho said with a smile. Just terrifying, Yib agreed. And they all laughed. 1 year later, a new plaque was installed at the entrance of the Galactic Collegiate Institute. It was made of polished metal and reflected the light from the nearby moon. The plaque read, Warning, human students enrolled. These individuals are products of a death world classification planet. They survived 23 extinction events through determination and adaptation. Approach historical discussions with caution. Or counselors on duty. But beneath the official warning, someone had carved additional words in smaller letters. They're actually really nice, though. And below that, in even smaller letters, another student had added, and kind of inspiring, if you can get past the scary parts. Junho walked past the plaque every day on his way to class. He smiled every time he saw it. Because it was true, all of it. Humans were terrifying survivors who climbed deadly mountains, ate painful peppers, kept predators as pets, and planned to terraform dead planets. But they were also friends. They were students. They were people trying their best in a galaxy that didn't quite know what to make of them. Counselor Yib walked beside him now, as always. The counselor had gained a reputation as the leading expert on human psychology. Other counselors asked Yib for advice. Do you ever regret taking this assignment? Junho asked. Yib's throat sac pulsed in amusement. Every day. But I wouldn't trade it. You humans are exhausting and terrifying. But you're also the,